Доброго ранку, Анатолій, як нас чуєте? Очікуйте початку.
Колеги, доброго ранку. Розпочинаємо наш робочий день зі зведеного прес-брифінгу речника Генерального штабу.
Colleagues, we start our working day with the briefing of the spokesperson of the head Minister of Defense, Anatoliy Seleznyov, and then Vladyslav Seleznyov, and then we'll have the spokesperson for the anti-terrorist operation on Skype. Good morning, dear guests. In Ukraine, the demobilization has started of military personnel who are participants in the anti-terrorist operation. During demobilization from the 18th of March to the 1st of May this year, 35,000 military personnel will come back home. These are defenders of our motherland who were called up for the military service during mobilization according to the decree of the President of the 17th of March 2014 about the partial mobilization. The President of Ukraine's Commander-in-Chief Superior, Petro Poroshenko, emphasized the importance of the support by the leaders of the state regional administrations after the military personnel are coming back home. First of all, he emphasized the need for the efficient solution of registration of the participants in the anti-terrorist operation and handing to them certificates of the participant in combat action. Also about partial freeing them from the communal services payments and providing them with plots of land, and also regulation of the issues of their financial obligations, and they're coming back to assuming their previous jobs. The Parliament of Ukraine has passed a law on changes to some laws of Ukraine pertaining to mobilization and social protection of citizens who will be dismissed from military service. This law provides the citizens from among the formerly mobilized military personnel the right to assume their previous jobs while they are being dismissed from military service according with the organizational measures. Also, these benefits are spread on military personnel who were in captivity, who are in captivity, and also recognized as missing in action until they are again registered at military commissariats after they are dismissed from the military service, not depending on the term of treatment, after they come back from captivity, and also after they reappear, after they've been recognized as missing in action, or until the day they are recognized dead by the court. They also have a delay in a new draft for up to 6 months if there is a new partial mobilization, and the respective changes were made to the laws on mobilization preparation and mobilization and on the military duty and military service. Besides, the President of Ukraine has issued a decree which confirms additional measures pertaining to the provision of the solution of urgent issues of social protection and rehabilitation of the anti-terrorist operation participants. And according to this decree, in the nearest time, the government has to draft and submit to the Parliament draft laws on changes to some legal acts, including the bestowing of the status of the participant in combat action for those who take direct participation in the anti-terrorist operation, and also the status of the war participant to people who provide for the conducting of the anti-terrorist operation. Also, it's the government has to draft up the law about the reinforcement of responsibility of those managers who have not retained jobs for mobilized or have not paid them salary as the law requires. In the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, the handing over of the first batch of the humanitarian cargo from the Canadian government to the Armed Forces of Ukraine took place, and the ambassador of Canada, Roman Vashuk, has handed over to Ukrainian military 60 devices of night vision. The total cost of the new batch of Canadian help amounts to $226,890 Canadian dollars. The night visors batch, as all the rest of the help, is part of the coordinated program that was initiated by the Prime Minister, Minister of Defense, and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Canada. According to the program of humanitarian aid of the government of Canada for the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the Ukrainian army in general will get 248 devices of night vision, whose cost amounts to 1 million Canadian dollars. As of today, the status of the participant in combat action was given to 11,748 military personnel and workers of the Armed Forces of Ukraine who are participants in the anti-terrorist operation. This week, the Interdepartmental Commission of the State Service of Ukraine on Veterans of War and participants in the anti-terrorist operation will consider materials for 1,521 military personnel and workers of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and also the Minister of Defense of Ukraine has signed another order about the bestowing of ministries' awards on 119 military personnel, and besides, the Ministry of Defense has prepared and sent to the President of Ukraine documents about the bestowing of state awards on another 38 military personnel. And now the word goes to Lieutenant Colonel Anatoliy Stelmakh.
Give floor to Colonel Anatoliy Stelmakh. So, in the night from 19 to 20 March, Russian terrorist groups for another time violated Minsk agreements. The enemy hit the position of Ukrainian militaries with the use of weapons like 120mm mortars. They shelled our checkpoints, our positions in Krasnogorivka and Pisky. The provocation of the bandits this night devised in Lugansk direction in 2135, not far from Sokolniki. The enemy applied the reactive system LRS BM-21 Grad, as well small arms and Grenade launchers were used by separatists at Stanitsa Luganska and again at Sokolniki. At Mariupol direction 3 times with the use of small arms and grenade launchers. Shirokine was shelled. At Artyomivsk direction no clashes were registered. So, totally in this night, from 2000 till midnight, 10 times the separatists used weapons and 5 cases of the silent regime was registered from midnight till 0700 of 20th March. Thank you. Dear colleagues, our next briefing will be at 11 sharp.